I pretended to be allergic to my stepmom's cooking for 3 years to avoid her poison attempts. I started faking the allergies 6 months after Dad married Kathleen. It began when I got violently sick after Sunday dinner at their place, the kind of sick that had me thinking about emergency rooms. Dad blamed the seafood, said I probably had a bad oyster. But I'd watched Kathleen's face when I'd mentioned updating my will earlier that day, how her smile had frozen when I said I was leaving everything to my daughter Adele. The timing felt wrong. The second time it happened, I paid attention. Kathleen had made her famous mushroom risotto, served only to me while Dad and my brother Nolan got the chicken. She'd insisted. Said she'd made it special because I'd complimented it once. That night I spent 4 hours vomiting, and something clicked into place that I didn't want to believe, so I tested it. Started claiming I developed food sensitivities. Shellfish first, then mushrooms, then anything with cream sauce. Kathleen's face would do this thing. A flash of frustration so quick you'd miss it if you weren't looking. She'd offer alternatives, and I'd claim reactions to those too. The list grew absurd. Garlic, onions, anything she particularly wanted me to eat. Dad thought I was losing it. You're 43 years old and suddenly you can't eat half the food pyramid? But I stuck to it. Brought my own meals to family dinners, watched Kathleen's barely concealed anger every time. Nolan pulled me aside after about a year, told me I was being ridiculous about Kathleen's cooking, that she was trying so hard with me. Then why does she only make the things I'm allergic to when I visit? He didn't have an answer for that. The real problem was Dad's estate. He'd redone his will after marrying her, but I was still the executor, still the one who'd inherit the house and the business. Kathleen had pushed for changes. I'd learned from Dad's lawyer Gregory. Wanted everything to go to her first, then distributed after her death. Dad had refused. 3 years, I kept this up. 3 years of watching her make elaborate meals I wouldn't touch. Of family gatherings where she'd forget my restrictions and seem shocked when I wouldn't eat. 3 years of Dad getting frustrated with me. Of Nolan thinking I was punishing her for replacing Mom. Then Dad got sick, real sick, the kind that moves fast. Kathleen insisted on managing his medications. I watched her like a hawk, started checking pill bottles, comparing counts. Everything seemed right, but Dad kept getting worse in ways that didn't match his diagnosis. The hospice nurse, Tanya, mentioned it once. Said she'd seen this kind of deterioration before, in cases where someone was helping things along. She'd stopped herself, but I knew what she meant. I called Gregory, told him everything, knowing how insane it sounded. 3 years of fake allergies because I thought my stepmother was trying to poison me, and now I thought she was doing it to my father. Do you have any proof? He asked. I didn't. Just intuition and a pattern of illness that seemed too convenient. Dad died on a Tuesday. Kathleen cried at the funeral, played the devastated widow. The will reading was scheduled for the following week. That's when Nolan found them. He'd been going through Dad's office, looking for insurance paperwork, when he discovered the letters tucked inside an old photo album. Kathleen had been writing to someone, a man named Oliver, apparently her actual husband from another state. Dad had found them 6 months before he died. Found out the marriage had never been legal, that she'd been setting up to claim everything as a widow. But there was more. Receipts for chemicals, research printouts about symptoms, a journal where she documented her attempts. Me first, because I was in the way of a clean inheritance. Then Dad, when he discovered her lies and threatened to turn her in. The letters laid it all out, how I'd somehow figured it out, with my sudden allergies. How frustrated she was that I wouldn't eat anything she made. How she'd had to pivot to Dad instead, make his natural illness look worse, push him toward death faster. Nolan's hands shook as he held the papers. You weren't crazy, he said. She actually tried to kill you. The police arrested Kathleen that afternoon. They found enough in her possession to confirm everything. The chemicals, the plans, the poison she'd been adding to Dad's medication. She confessed within hours, tried to claim it was mercy, that Dad was dying anyway. I stood in Dad's empty house after they took her away, thinking about 3 years of family dinners where everyone thought I was insane. Nolan couldn't look at me, the guilt eating him alive for every time he defended her. But what haunted me wasn't the vindication. It was knowing I'd been right about the meals, right about the danger, and completely wrong about how far she'd go when I stopped eating. Dad had paid the price for my survival.